Welcome to the Internet of Bugs. This video is part of a series about how we can be confident that generative AI is not going to kill programming careers. Today's installment is, this isn't new, this is just a new version of the lowest bidder problem. My name is Carl. I've been a software professional for 35 years. I'm also the father of a college freshman who's newly become a computer science major. And so I heard a lot of questions lately, and I've started this channel to answer them. So way back in the before times, back before social media, back before smartphones, back before cloud computing, back before YouTube, there was another panic about computer jobs going away. Back then, it wasn't that jobs were going to be done by a computer, but that jobs were going to be done by humans living in cheaper parts of the world who could produce software for less money. The panic, as I remember it, was much the same. I don't have any quotes of CEOs saying there will be no more programmers in the US in 5 years, but that's because CEO interviews didn't go viral back then. There was no such thing as going viral back then. So there was much less incentive for CEOs to say outrageous things to pump up their stock price. The equivalent back then was an analysis group publishing research articles and white papers. And back then, white papers were actually on paper. There was a famous Forrester Research paper in November 2002 that predicted 3.3 million US white-collar jobs would be lost to outshoring. And in 2004, they revised that number upwards. I can't actually show you the paper, but I can show you articles about it. I can show you articles about tech workers freaking out, much the same way they are now. I particularly love this article, How to Prevent Offshoring from Taking Your Job, which contains such gems as move into the people part of the business and learn to sell. But it turned out, lo and behold, the computing jobs in the US didn't go away. And many people have had long, successful technology careers without moving into the people part of the business. Because offshoring turned out to have a bunch of problems that the business community didn't realize at the time, and most of those problems will be the same with AI. First off, there's a cultural communication problem. Managers discovered that explaining what you wanted to have done to a group of people that didn't share the same cultural background and assumptions was more work than they expected it to be. The same will be true of generative AI, but to a much greater degree. Quick example. There was an accident involving a self-driving car that ran over and then dragged a pedestrian in San Francisco not long ago. It's obvious to any human that when you hurt someone, you should stop what you're doing and try not to make it worse. But the AI has no such intuition, and nobody thought to explain it to it. In fact, specifying what software is supposed to do and communicating that is one of the biggest challenges in all of software engineering. I'm working on writing a video about that now, and it'll get posted to the channel when I'm done, so subscribe if you want to see that when it comes out. Another way that generative AI and offshoring are similar is the lag between when a new technology shows up and when it can be effectively used. If you hand ChatGPT a problem in a brand new programming language or framework, it'll have no pattern matching to draw on, and you'll get garbage results. Likewise, most offshoring companies have long lead times for training their folks on new technologies, and if you want to use the current or even recent best practices, offshoring just isn't going to work for you. I could go on, but hopefully you get my point. The bottom line is, generative AI is impressive, but it will be a very long time before it can code, test, and debug as well as a competent offshore team. And since competent offshore teams didn't kill US programming, generative AI won't either. Now understand, there was a lot of offshoring that happened in the early 2000s, and there still is, but there are far more programming jobs now than there were back then. It will be the same with generative AI. Many tasks from many projects will get done by or with generative AI in the future, and that will change the way software projects happen, and offshoring changed the nature of how projects were done back then as well. But those projects will still happen, and they will still need lots of programmers to get them done. As to how generative AI will change how projects get done, and what programmers will be doing for a living in the future, I have ideas, but that's another video, actually probably several of them. Subscribe if you want to see those when they come out, but for now, don't worry about AI taking your job, and thanks for watching.